the tech world, it just moves so fast, doesn't it? I mean, one minute you think you've got a handle on something, and the next, boom, there's a whole new standard or, a completely new way of thinking about it. It's exciting for sure, but honestly, keeping up can feel like, well, it's a lot, even if you really try to follow it all.
Oh, absolutely. It is a real challenge.
Mhm.
And that's kind of why we're here, right? Welcome to the deep dive. We try to be your shortcut to staying in the loop.
Mm.
Our whole mission is to, cut through all that noise, pull out the important stuff, and hopefully give you those aha moments without drowning you in information.
Exactly. And today, that's just what we're doing. We're taking a deep dive into this really interesting weekly newsletter from Andrew Kagan. It's called Random Technical News You Can Possibly Use, and we're looking at the August 8th, 2025 edition. It's basically this great curated list of updates, articles, videos, covers a whole lot of ground. I'm really curious to see how all these different bits and pieces kind of paint a picture of where tech is right now.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to think about it. This deep dive, it should give you that panoramic view. We want to help you understand not just what's new, but maybe more importantly, why it matters. What are the bigger implications? We'll try to connect the dots across, I think it's 8 key areas from the newsletter, everything from cloud stuff to AI, security, industry trends. You really start to see this narrative emerge about, well, the sheer speed of change and how AI is just weaving itself into everything.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack this. Starting with Azure, there are always general updates, right? That just confirms things are always moving. But beyond that, what specific things around identity and security jumped out at you from the newsletter?
Right, so 2 things really stood out to me. First, this group source of authority conversion in Entra. And second, the app gateway for containers WAF overview.
Hmm.
Now, Entra, just as a reminder, that's Microsoft's big identity and access platform now, basically the evolution of Azure AD. This group source of authority conversion thing, it sounds technical, but it really points to identity governance getting more mature. It lets companies get super precise about where identity info originates. That's critical for compliance for your security posture.
Okay, so really nailing down where identities come from. Got it.
Exactly. And the app gateway for containers with WAF. That's about bringing strong web application firewall protection directly to modern apps, the ones running in containers, often at the edge. If you're using microservices, this is pretty vital. It tackles web attacks that your traditional network firewall might just miss.
Right. So solid identities and protecting those newer containerized apps where they live makes complete sense. And then there was also the item on connectivity options, hub and spoke versus Azure Virtual WAN.
Mm.
If you're building out a big network in Azure, how do you choose between those? What's the key difference?
Yeah, that choice has pretty big consequences for your network strategy, how it scales.
Okay.
Hub and spoke is the classic way, well understood, gives you very granular control, maybe best for simpler setups or specific regions. Azure Virtual WAN, though, that's Microsoft's managed global network service. It's designed to simplify really complex global setups. It bundles routing, security, global peering, all in one package. So the decision really boils down to scale, how much management you want to handle yourself, and just how complex your global network is. Virtual WAN aims for simplification at scale. Hub and Spoke offers more tailored control for maybe more specific needs. Understanding that difference helps you think strategically about cloud networking.
Okay, moving on to Microsoft 365. And yeah, no big surprise here. Copilot is still front and center. The newsletter mentioned inside the Copilot control system and also Copilot value analytics. That sounds like we're moving beyond just using AI to actively managing it and measuring its impact. How are companies actually figuring out the value of something like Copilot? Is it just time saved?
That's a really good question because measuring AI impact, it's trickier than your standard ROI calculation. The Copilot control system suggests a framework for governing how the AI interacts with your company data, your processes. That's huge for safety compliance, responsible AI. And Copilot Value Analytics, that's digging into how AI helps with specific things, maybe drafting emails, summarizing docs. It's trying to quantify not just time saved, but maybe improvements in quality, employee satisfaction, even finding information faster. It's moving beyond just cost savings to that harder to pin down productivity dividend from AI.
Interesting. And outside of Copilot, M365 security and compliance are always big themes. We saw audit logs for screen sharing and take control in Teams, and also broader July 2025 M365 updates covering AI tools and security. What's the main takeaway here about keeping the hybrid workplace secure?
Yeah, these updates really hammer home how crucial audit trails and fine-grained security are, especially since tools like Teams are so central now. Being able to audit who shared their screen or who took remote control that's vital for investigations, for compliance, for building trust, and the broader July updates. They reinforce that security isn't an add-on for these new AI tools. It has to be built in from the start, protecting data, preventing misuse. It's absolutely critical as AI gets deeper into our workflows.
Right, right. And on the productivity side, a few other interesting bits. SharePoint agents enable Windows Sandbox, disposable Windows Guide, and even Markdown in Windows 11 Notepad. I have to say the idea of disposable Windows sounds pretty useful.
Oh, the Windows Sandbox guide. That's a brilliant practical thing. Security and productivity. This lets you run apps you don't trust. Or open weird files in a totally separate temporary Windows environment. Close the sandbox, poof, everything's gone. Your main system stays safe, it's great for testing. And Markdown at Notepad. Small change, but super handy for developers, writers, anyone using Markdown for quick formatting. SharePoint agents, that hints at more AI-driven automation coming to SharePoint, making it smarter than just a place to store files. Streamlining content management, collaboration, that kind of thing.
Okay, let's shift gears to Business Applications, Power Platform, and Dynamics 365. Still all about empowering more people to build things, right? Without needing to be hardcore coders. And Copilot's big here, too. What's new in Copilot Studio, Plan Validation in Copilot Studio Kit, and extending it with Azure AI? How is this changing what, a citizen developer can actually create?
Yeah, these updates really show Copilot Studio leveling up. It's making AI development accessible to more business users. People who know the business problems but aren't necessarily programmers, they can build pretty sophisticated AI solutions now. Plan validation sounds like a focus on making sure the logic these citizen developers build into their AI is actually sound before they deploy it, which is, important for reliability. And extending Copilot Studio with Azure AI, that's key. It means you're not just stuck with the standard Copilot features. You can hook your low-code apps directly into more powerful Azure AI services. It connects those simpler apps to serious enterprise-grade AI capabilities.
And sticking with Power Platform, this sounds like a big deal for Power BI. Standalone Copilot in Power BI default in September. Making it default, what does that mean for the average person using Power BI for reports and stuff?
Oh, that's huge. Yeah, a monumental shift. Copilot becoming default in Power BI fundamentally changes data analysis. It means AI-powered insights, asking questions in plain English. That's going to be available to everyone using Power BI automatically. It dramatically lowers the barrier for digging into data, makes it easier for, say, a marketing manager or a sales lead to ask complex questions and get insights without needing deep technical skills. It's a major step in making data intelligence way more accessible, just putting AI right there for everyone.
Okay, now let's peek behind the curtain a bit. DevOps, SRE, infrastructure, how software actually gets built and run. And something immediately caught my eye here. AI coding tools. Developer trust is plummeting. And alongside that, the Stack Overflow Developer Survey 2025. That sounds counterintuitive, maybe. With all the hype about AI coding assistants, why would trust be plummeting?
Yeah, that is a really critical finding, isn't it? AI promises so much speed for developers, but if the developers don't actually trust the code the AI spits out, maybe it's buggy, insecure, hard to maintain, then it's not actually helpful, is it? The declining trust suggests maybe the current tools are hitting some practical limits. They need to mature beyond just generating snippets to actually, collaborating effectively with humans. The Stack Overflow survey will likely shed a lot of light on the why. What are the specific frustrations? What do developers really need from AI to make it work in their daily flow? It's bridging that gap between the hype and the reality on the ground for coders.
That's a really interesting point, a reality check. And then digging deeper into AI itself, we see terms like agentic AI and API self-discovery, building durable multi-agent workflows with Dapper agents, and the A2A.NET SDK. What's this whole agentic AI thing about? Is it AI kind of going off and doing its own thing?
Sort of, yeah. This is where AI starts acting more autonomously, collaborating. A2A, that's agent-to-agent protocol, it's designed so different AI agents can talk to each other, work together, even if they were built separately. Agentic AI means building these intelligent agents that can communicate, figure out what tools or APIs they need on their own, and even manage complex tasks together without a human constantly directing every step. And DApp, which helps build microservices, is now being used to make these AI agent workflows reliable, durable. It really points to a future where software isn't just static code, but maybe dynamic networks of these intelligent agents working together, maybe even managing parts of their own projects.
Wow, so AI isn't just a tool anymore. It's becoming like an active participant, maybe even a project manager, which kind of leads to these next items. Beyond the ID future of software engineering and MCP UI, replacing old websites with AI UIs.
Are we talking about throwing out the old developer tools and website designs completely? Maybe not throwing them out entirely, but definitely reimagining them. Beyond the IDE suggests that the way developers work might change significantly. If AI handles more of the raw coding, maybe the traditional integrated development environment becomes less central. Development moves beyond just one tool. And MCP UI, that's fascinating. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. It's a standard way for AI models to access external tools and data. Applying that to user interfaces, it suggests AI could dynamically generate or even replace traditional UIs. Imagine interfaces that adapt to you intelligently. So yeah, AI isn't just writing the code behind the scenes. It might fundamentally change how we interact with software on the screen. More dynamic, maybe more personalized experiences.
Okay, so at the core of all this, obviously, is data, analytics, and AI itself, where the real cutting edge is. The newsletter mentions Alama's new app, and a breakthrough model beats the AI wall. What keeps driving these constant new model breakthroughs?
It's just the relentless pace of R&D in AI. Alama's new app, for instance, makes it easier to run large language models on your own machine. That empowers more people to experiment, which fuels innovation. And a breakthrough model beats the AI wall. That usually means a significant step forward. Overcoming a known limitation, maybe making models way more efficient, or able to tackle completely new kinds of problems. These headlines are just constant reminders that AI is nowhere near standing still. New capabilities pop up all the time.
And how do these new models fit into the bigger picture? We saw OpenAI's GPT OSS on Azure and Windows AI Foundry. What's the strategy behind mixing open source AI with big platforms like Azure and Windows?
That's a really powerful mix. It shows big players integrating open source models like versions of OpenAI's GPT right into their enterprise platforms. So developers get the best of both worlds, the flexibility and community support of open source, plus the scalability, security, and tools of platforms like Azure. It makes advanced AI more practical, more robust for building real business applications in a way that's manageable and scalable.
And with all this data and AI flying around, you absolutely need security and insights. Varonis Next-Gen Database Activity Monitoring and Azure Storage Discovery for enhanced data insights. Is the goal just knowing what data you have and keeping it safe?
Pretty much, yeah. It's about understanding and protecting your data, whether it's sitting in a database or moving around. Varonis helps watch who's accessing databases, looking for weird activity, insider threats, crucial stuff. Azure Storage Discovery uses AI to help you understand the mountains of data you have stored in Azure. It's not just for security, though. It's also about finding new business insights hidden in that data, maybe optimizing storage costs, ensuring you're compliant. And tying back to agentic AI, there was also AI protocols for real-world agent navigation. That shows AI getting practical in the physical world, how autonomous systems learn to navigate complex spaces.
Okay, which brings us neatly to security, compliance, and privacy. Always critical, but how are they adapting specifically to this AI explosion? We have cabin check-in, ensure least privilege access, and camp kickoff, unified access in the age of AI. That old principle of least privilege, giving only necessary access, is AI making that harder or easier?
Oh, definitely more complex. These items show least privilege is still fundamental, only give the access needed, nothing more. But now it's not just people needing access, it's AI agents too. And they might need dynamic access to lots of different things. So unified access in the age of AI suggests we need new ways to manage identity and access that can handle both humans and AI requesting access consistently, controllably, auditably. The challenge is giving AI the data it needs to be useful while keeping strict controls locked down. It's a tricky balance.
But new tech often means new risks, right? The newsletter called out low-code tools in Azure exposed access risks.
Cool.
That sounds like something a lot of companies using Power Platform, for example, need to watch out for. How do you manage that risk without killing the innovation low-code brings?
That's a really important warning. Low code is powerful, lets business users build apps fast, but it can easily create security holes if you're not careful. People building the apps might not fully grasp the security side of the connections and permissions they're setting up. It really highlights that security can't be an afterthought in the low-code world. It needs to be built in. It's not just about training users, it's about building smart guardrails and automated security checks right into the platforms themselves. Shifting security left, as they say, even for citizen developers.
Right. And finally, under security, just a quick rundown of threats and defenses. Audit and secure Microsoft 365 Fast with Maester. CISA open sources Thorium malware platform. Microsoft 365 phishing abuse via direct send. And a BitLocker exploit. What does this mix tell us about the current cybersecurity fight?
It gives you a real snapshot of that ongoing battle. It's constant, it's varied. Meister sounds like a tool trying to simplify the huge task of auditing and securing M365. Big need there. CISA, that's the U.S. cyber agency, open sourcing a malware platform like Thorium. That's significant. It helps the whole security community build better defenses by studying the threats. The phishing item points to a specific common attack method that needs constant defense. And the BitLocker exploit shows even fundamental security like disk encryption isn't foolproof, requires vigilance, patching. It's just a stark reminder security is never done. It's an ongoing, evolving challenge.
Okay, so with all this information flying around, how do people possibly keep up? The newsletter points to learning and certifications. It mentioned resources like a developer's journey video, an algorithms course, a Google Cloud cert course. What's the best way for someone listening to actually stay ahead in this field?
Yeah, this section really speaks directly to you, the listener, the learner. In a world changing this fast, lifelong learning, it's not optional anymore, it's essential. Resources like these, whether it's digging into core concepts like algorithms or getting certified on cloud platforms, are vital. Keep your skills sharp, relevant. I think the best strategy is a mix. You need time for the foundational stuff that lasts, but you also need to aggressively learn the new things. AI, cloud security, whatever's emerging. It really just reinforces that. Staying curious, investing in your own learning, that's the most practical way to navigate what's coming in tech.
All right, finally, let's zoom out. Broader industry news and trends. First up, how Cloudian helps storage keep pace with AI. What kind of pressure is AI putting on our basic data infrastructure?
Yeah, this points to a huge infrastructure challenge from the AI boom. AI models, AI applications, they are just incredibly data hungry. They need massive storage, massive compute. Cloudian, being a storage company, is highlighting how they're evolving their tech to handle these demands. Basically making sure the pipes don't get clogged, ensuring the storage infrastructure can actually keep up with AI's appetite for data, avoiding that bottleneck.
And then there's this one, which is, well, both fascinating and maybe a bit alarming. Carnegie Mellon. AI autonomously hacks enterprise networks.
Oh, AI not just helping security pros, but actively finding and exploiting vulnerabilities on its own. What does that mean for defense? Yeah, that is a pretty significant finding. If AI can autonomously hack networks, that signals a potential new era for offensive capabilities. It raises really serious questions about needing defensive AI that can detect and fight back against these kinds of sophisticated automated attacks. For security teams, it means the adversary might not just be human hackers anymore, but potentially AI-driven threats that adapt super quickly. That demands a big shift in how we think about defense needing more AI on our side.
Okay, that's a lot to think about. We also saw a quick note on D-Wave. Record cash, revenue growth, but widening losses. Quantum computing is still out there. What does this headline tell us about bringing really cutting-edge tech like quantum to market?
D-Wave's a pioneer, especially in quantum annealing. That headline. It's pretty typical for companies working on the absolute frontier. They're making progress, getting revenue, attracting investment that's good. But the tech is still early, needs huge amounts of R&D money, so they're still losing money overall. It just shows that commercializing truly revolutionary tech is a really long, expensive game. Breakthroughs take time and cost a lot, but the potential payoff down the road is seen as worth the gamble.
And lastly, this one surprised me a bit. Wi-Fi 8. Not faster, but better. How can Wi-Fi get better if speed isn't the main improvement? What does better actually mean for us?
Right. We always think better means faster. But for Wi-Fi 8, better is more about major gains in efficiency, capacity, and reliability, especially when lots of devices are connected. It's designed to handle way more devices at once, reduce lag, and just manage crowded airways more smoothly. So while the top speed might not jump dramatically, your actual experience, especially in a busy home or office, should be much smoother, more stable. That's arguably more useful for most people than just raw speed increases.
Wow, okay, what a tour. We went from, specific Azure settings and M365 features all the way through AI developers losing trust, agentic AI, autonomous hacking. It's amazing how much insight you can pull from just one edition of Andrew Kagan's newsletter. It really does work as a shortcut to understanding the tech landscape.
It absolutely does. And what strikes me looking back across all of it is that sheer velocity, yes, but also the patterns. AI weaving into everything, from the bottom infrastructure layers right up to the user interface. interface. That's undeniable, which in turn ramps up a need for really robust security and compliance in this much more complex world. And underpinning it all, that constant need for all of us to keep learning, keep adapting. Every single item we touched on points to a future that demands agility and understanding these big shifts.
And that really leads us perfectly into our final thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. As these AI tools get smarter, maybe even capable of autonomous hacking, like that Carnegie Mellon research suggests, what new rules, what new ethical frameworks do we need? Not just to control the tech, but to make sure it actually serves humanity's best interests. And maybe more practically, given everything we've talked about today, what skills do you think are going to be most vital for navigating the tech world over the next, say, 5 years?
Lots to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep learning.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.